Hi, today we are going to go back to the Midwest region packet. And if we can turn to the section titled Culture. And then in the question packet, flip it over to the back side and it says Culture with the questions. So we'll start with the before and after questions like we have prior. And this is just, what do you think, true or false, prior to reading the article on culture? So no right or wrong answer, just what do you think? And then we'll go back after and see if your opinion was true or false, or correct or not. So the first one is ice fishing is a popular sport in the Midwest. What do you think before reading on culture? Do you think that ice fishing is a popular sport in the Midwest? Mark true or false just in that before column. Number 2, most food from the Midwest is made with lots of spices. What do you think about that? And then number 3, rock and roll music and Motown music were invented in the Midwest region. What do you think? Do you think that's where it was invented? Well, we will find out, and then we can compare your answers after we go ahead and read and see if you were correct or not. Okay, so let's turn now to culture. I will scroll and find that. Okay, it says culture and then food. The food of the Midwest is often simple but filling, without many spices. Because the Midwest produces most of America's grain, beef, and dairy products, these ingredients are used in many of the foods from this region. Pancakes, cornbread, caramel popcorn, chicken pot pie, and pot roast are all foods that came from the Midwest region. The Midwest has a large population of German and Swedish immigrants, so foods from those countries became a part of the Midwesterners' diets. Germans introduced foods such as sausage, brats, and sauerkraut. Swedish people brought lutefisk, which is a type of dried cod fish soaked in lye, L-Y-E, lefties, which is potato bread, and meatballs. Excuse me if I'm saying some of these words incorrectly. Midwesterners like to eat Chicago-style pizza, a deep dish pizza with a crust up to 3 inches tall at the edge, with large amounts of cheese, chunky tomato sauce, and other toppings. Another favorite food is a corny dog. A corny dog is a hot dog on a bun topped with meat, chili, onions, and yellow mustard. Because Kansas City was a center for cattle trade, it developed its own particular kind of barbecue sauce that is sweeter than what other parts of the country uses. Kansas City has more barbecue restaurants than any other city in the US, but St. Louis is also famous for its barbecue. Okay, we're still in the culture section, but now we're talking about fun. Okay, so we'll scroll to the area. Again, it's still under culture, but its subheading is fun. Outdoor sports are popular in the Midwest. They go snow skiing, skating, snowmobiling, and ice fishing in the winter. Ice fishing is fishing on a frozen lake or stream through a hole in the ice. The fishermen drill large holes completely through the ice to the open water. Because of the cold weather, most fishermen use an icy shanty, a small shelter, which can help keep them out of the wind and blowing snow as they fish. Sometimes shanties can be left on the lakes most of the winter and people group together in a shanty town. There's the image right there of that little teeny, looks like a little miniature house. Just to the right of fun, if you can see that little photo. Okay, now we'll flip over. We're still on fun. We're on the bottom of page, or the top of page 6. People enjoy horseback riding, fishing, and hunting during warmer weather. Water skiing was invented in 1922 in Minnesota. Ralph Samuelson decided that if you could ski on snow, you can ski on water. Every year, more than 400,000 people gather at Brickyard Motor Speedway to watch the Indianapolis 500 race. Now we're moving to some information on music. Music. Two kinds of music came from the Midwest region. Rock and roll music was invented in Cleveland in the early 1950s. Rock Around the Clock by Billy Haley and the Comets was the song that introduced rock and roll to America. His next record, Shake, Rattle, and Roll, was the first rock and roll record to sell 1 million copies. Rock and roll, with its pulsating drums, fast tempos, and large guitars, provided teens of the 1950s the perfect excuse to dance crazy, new dances, and wear wild new hairstyles. Rock and roll continues on to become one of the world's most popular and recognizable music forms. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is located in Cleveland, Ohio. Another style of music called the Motown sound started in the 1960s with music from Motown Records in Detroit, Michigan. Motown music quickly became popular around the country. Motown Records was the first record company to be owned by an African American and to feature African American musicians. Motown Records became the largest and most successful record company in the United States. Many well-known bands and artists started at Motown Records. These artists included The Supremes, The Miracles, Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, The Four Tops, and Diana Ross. Okay, that concludes this segment on, it was culture. So within culture, we talked about, let's see, food, fun, and music. So let's go back to our questions. It's on the back side, the very last page in the Midwestern region packet of questions. Oops, I got to scroll a little bit more. And again, if you need time to answer, which you probably will, just go ahead and pause, answer the question, and then turn it back on again and continue. So pause it anytime you need to. There we go, culture. Okay, so we'll start again with ice fishing is a popular sport in the Midwest. So after reading now, what do you think the answer is, true or false? Ice fishing is a popular sport in the Midwest. Number 2, most food from the Midwest is made with lots of spices. What did it say? Did it say it was made with lots of spices or not? And number 3, rock and roll music and Motown music were invented in the Midwest region. True or false after reading? Okay, and number 1, what is an ice shanty? There was even an image too. So if you'd like to pause and go ahead and find the answer to that question, go right ahead. Again, it's just asking to explain what is an ice shanty? What is it? Maybe what is it used for? And number 2, what are some popular foods that come from the Midwest? You could just name a few, maybe at least 3 or so. Look back in the article. It did give a few examples. What are some popular foods that come from the Midwest? And that is it. We are completed with the entire packet on the Midwest region. Great job.